What are you going to be reading for us today, Lise?
Today I'm going to be reading a short section from the Song of Hadariah, which is the first book in the Dybbuk Scrolls trilogy. In this book, we have three girls from our world, Carrie and her two best friends, Rebecca and Lindsay, who are asked to go on a quest to save the magical world of Hadariah from the Dybbuk king Asmodeus. And in the section I'm going to be reading to you, Adom, an emissary from Hadariah, has just asked them to come back to his world to go on this quest. Adom looked Carrie right in the eye. She held her breath, not wanting to break away from his gaze. Could she possibly live up to his expectations? It was a lot of responsibility. At that moment, she was not so sure she could handle it. "Can I please have a moment to discuss this with my friends?" Carrie asked Adom. "Certainly," Adom replied, "but know that time is short." She watched as Adom walked a little ways away. "Guys," Carrie looked at Rebecca and Lindsay. "What do you think we should do?" She tried to gauge their enthusiasm, their skepticism, their willingness to participate. "I'm in," Lindsay said, smiling. "I don't see how I could ever turn my back on someone in trouble," Rebecca said. "Of course I'll help." "You really think we can do this?" Carrie asked. "It seems simple enough on the surface. Go and get some string." "Strings," Lindsay corrected. "And they're liable to be catgut. Most violin strings are." "Whatever," Carrie said. "Anyway, it seems easy until you factor in this demon king. This could be dangerous." She knew she was going to go regardless, but she wanted her friends to be sure. She didn't want them to feel as if they were being pressured into anything. "Of course it will," Rebecca said. "If you read any story, all quests are dangerous. That's kind of the thrill. I can't believe any of this is real. It's kind of awesome." "Yeah," Lindsay added, "it totally is." Carrie nodded, relieved her friends were on the same page. "Okay, what are we waiting for? Let's go." She stood and shouldered her backpack. She saw Rebecca and Lindsay also preparing to leave. "Lead the way," she called to Adom. Adom approached the same bush through which he had appeared. "Follow me," he said, and vanished among the foliage. Carrie stared at the small collection of leaves. How could she possibly fit through that? She hesitated, and one of her hands sought her necklace. She gave a small shrug and got down on all fours. As she approached the bush, she heard her dog barking hysterically from the house. "Bye, Finn," she whispered and crawled forward. Was she shrinking? Was the bush getting larger? Whatever was happening was clearly magic. Carrie crawled onward. Branches and leaves caught in her hair and tore at her pack. The tunnel, for she was now sure there was a tunnel in that collection of twigs, seemed to go on forever. Carrie was keenly aware of everything around her. Her eyes sharply saw each leaf in stark detail, the way the light filtered through the holes in the foliage and dappled everything in a mossy green. She heard every breaking branch under her knees and hands with a sharp, resounding crack that seemed to stab the silence in the air around her. She felt their sharp ends scratch her hands through the velvety moss that carpeted the ground she crawled over. Her lungs breathed in the moist air, cleaner than the air of cities and suburbs, and more real, more nourishing than anything she was used to. She smelled rain, grass, and soil, all of which smelled natural, lacking man-made smells from home. The overabundance of oxygen made her head heavy. Her heart felt as if it would burst. Just as she thought she would never reach the end of the tunnel, she abruptly found herself kneeling under a night sky, surrounded by a primeval forest, the likes of which she had never seen before. Carrie stood up on shaky legs, speechless in another world.